Let's Backflip Happy Hour show. Let's Backflip Show Happy Hour. Dude, I am so discombobulated right now because as things go, technology was just being really great. So hopefully we have audio. Just maybe text Luke or something if we don't have audio. If things are weird, because we end up having to go audio into the camera and there's some other weird things going on. And I don't even think I'm like real time, but we'll have fun. It'll be great. So thank you guys so much for your patience. Thank you guys for your patience. But today I've got Alexis and Maria with me here today. New, what do we call it? Like new full-time staff. Welcome, guys.
Thanks. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I kind of cut our conversation short earlier. We were talking about band members being sponsored because collegiate athletes can now be sponsored in sports. So college sports athletes can be sponsored, but now apparently the band can too, which is nuts. And you know, your brother knows somebody who was sponsored by Quick Trip or something.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I don't know if it's like because he's a UW band member he can get sponsored, or he's just a random student who tried to get sponsored. But either way, he's
just
in the band.
The brand that he loves.
Yeah, he's in the band. He's sponsored by Quick Trip. He's getting money.
Dude, that is awesome.
So I mean,
I love that so much. Do you know like how the like if he's like wearing Quick Trip all the time, like outside of band things?
I think it's a lot of stuff on his social media that he's doing. He might be in some commercials and things. I don't really know how it works.
Dude, that's kind of cool because the whole influencer culture thing. So, all right, before we continue on this nonsense path, I'll have you guys introduce yourself. So since you started, why don't you tell me a little bit more about yourself? You've been on the show before, but
I haven't. A year ago.
Yeah.
I'm Alexis. As you know, I just started full time as an editor / producer / doing all sorts of random fun things.
Welcome to a small business.
And I graduated college recently, so I got my degree in journalism and a certificate in cinema production. So that is great. And here we are. So college graduate, starting full time right away.
Yeah.
In what I want to do. So it's really fun.
Sweet. We're going to get into some of that. I have a lot of questions. But first, we're going to also introduce our other guest over here, Maria.
Yes. So apparently I've been working here for 5 years already, but I'm excited to be on the show today. I just finished up my sophomore year at UW Eau Claire, and I'm studying communications and recording arts there. I really like it. I have a house there with a few other roommates, and right now I'm training for a marathon, which is a bit of a fun fact. It's
actually
next week in Duluth.
Shut up.
So
really?
I've been training hardcore for that.
Gosh.
How many miles did you run today?
Today I didn't run any, but
yesterday.
Last weekend I did a 20, which will be my most.
Whoa.
Wow.
You get up that high
That's crazy.
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I'm nervous because this is going to be my first one.
Well, I heard so I know my family trained and did a marathon a while ago, and I can't remember how much they got up to, 16, 18. But then at some point they're like, after that, you just keep going. Like, you know, it's not a lot of difference, but
Adrenaline.
Yeah. That's what they say. The adrenaline carries you through.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll only need to rely on that for the last 6 miles.
Oh God.
That's exciting.
But,
Wow.
Like, I hate running. But I've always thought, hey, it might be cool to do a marathon just because it's such a cool challenge. It's such a, pushing your body to a certain limit. What got you excited about that?
I didn't start running until last semester. I took a distance running class, and it was a really cool community because it was with community members and students, and it was an evening once a week thing, and then we did running together on Saturday mornings. So that was really good to just get me out there, because otherwise I don't think I would have had the motivation. But then once you actually got racking up the miles, I think once I did my first 10-mile run, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of fun, and you kind of zone out and you don't have to worry about the running as much, and you're just thinking about other things.
Do they teach you how to run? Because I feel like I've never run correctly, and so my knees and my ankles and my hips always hurt.
They didn't teach us as much about the form as they did about the correct footwear and how to fuel your body and like how much you're supposed to be drinking and kind of nutrition things instead of like form, which was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I would probably die. Did you run?
I did track and cross country all throughout high school. So I was a big runner, and then I continued that into freshman year of college, and then slowly I just like fell off of it. But
Like at UW, you were in cross country or track?
I just like continued running on my own,
Oh,
like for
okay.
fun with friends and things. And then St. Paul's did a run club, so I would run with that kind of crowd because I didn't want to join like the track club because they're kind of hardcore
Mhm.
at UW. So I just did my own thing. But
Well, actually, and this is a fun topic that I like to talk about, and this is just kind of how it goes. You just kind of flow around. Like health and fitness, especially like after college or during the summers, because like when you're in college, you have maybe your schedule's even more crazy, and so you're all over the place. There's a lot of things going on. Food and eating is all over the place and weird, but you can also be intense about certain things. So maybe you do better with your fitness and nutrition. But now, how far are we in? Like a month? Maybe a month in, like to a 9 to 5, like what has changed?
a lot.
What have you noticed? Yeah.
I think for me, it's crazy because I feel like college was like, especially junior, senior year, it was so busy all the time. And I kind of made myself busy. Like I did so much that I feel like I was kind of running on adrenaline like the whole time. Like just this like flight or fight all the time just because I had to get through all the things I was doing in order to stay on track with all the schoolwork and the homework and work in general and extracurriculars and things like that. So I wasn't working out or like doing a ton of physical activity during that time, which I definitely could tell was affecting just my overall health because I love like running and doing all of that stuff. But then, so I think we talked about this last time. I always bring this up, but my mom is a dietitian.
That's
So
right, yeah.
so I feel like growing up, she trained me really well to just like eat well. And so that never really faltered because I just don't like processed foods. I just don't feel good, so I try to.
You haven't forced yourself to get beyond that. I don't like it.
Like I would prioritize my meal prep and I would still make good meals and I wasn't like the college ramen kid who just or ate out of the time.
Because I think we talked about that
in
the back about what do you eat? Like some chicken, some rice, and some veggies or something like that. Like pretty usual. Like, good stuff.
Lots of kale and veggies and all of that. So
all the funky greens we have now.
Yeah.
I love it.
So eating was always good, but it was interesting because when I graduated and now we're in this like better rhythm, things are slowing down a lot more. Like I still have all the wedding planning to do and things like that. But besides that, I don't have homework or anything else crazy going on. So it's just like,
So you have to crank on anything that you
don't want to. And so suddenly I feel like I can breathe and I can rest. And I'm realizing things about my body that I didn't know before. Oh wow, like waking up really is challenging, but I'm getting better. Just like sleep in general is good. Like I'm not running 0% anymore. Like I'm not go all the time. So that's been good. And just like in general, like I've been craving more physical activity because now I'm not like bopping from class to class all the time. I'm just like sitting for 9 hours and then what do I do? So yeah, definitely an adjustment. So it'll be interesting to continue figuring that out because I don't quite know what the rhythm looks like, but
and you're engaged and to be married in a month-ish. Yeah. And so like all that changes everything too. So right now you probably see Patrick some, but then when you get married, you move in together, that's going to change things and trying to figure out that rhythm. So that'll be fun.
I know lots of changes going on in the next, or already happened and then more to come. So it's like, do I establish a solid routine now when it's just going to change in a couple of weeks?
Maybe a good thing to talk about with Patrick too. Like, that's a weird thing, like expectation. and it changes throughout the seasons, but I feel like we're in a spot where, our expectation is like, okay, when we're done, we're just going to hang out. So then we have to communicate, like this is me and Monica. We have to communicate like, hey, I'm just going to do something else tonight. Like I'm going to do something my own, because our default is we're just hanging out together, but it's not always intentional.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to think about how can it be more intentional, and then have intentional time apart. So something to think about.
Yeah. There's a balance for sure. And like finding that time for friends and family as well, and community,
Mm-hmm.
and like hanging out with other couples too is something very important.
Yeah. Finding those couples you can hang out with that
Mhm.
can put up with your craziness.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's cool.
So kind of similar over here with you, Maria. You're going into your junior year?
Yeah.
Right. So you've had 2 years of college. So this is your second summer home. What's that been like? And now, being like a working stiff here, 9 to 5, all week. What's that transition
Yeah.
been like?
It's definitely been different. I've never had, the type of job. Well, I've never had like one job at a time.
Mhm.
I'm always the type of person who has like probably 3 to 4 side hustles. Like last summer was kind of insane. I was doing Cutco, so I was like a sales
That's
person,
right.
which
Yeah.
was a really awesome
Oh.
experience. Let's see, I was doing some DJing with my
Really?
with one of my
Wow.
old teachers. Yeah,
I
I was
love
doing
your-
Annie.
you're like-
I was
like
doing this.
Such a sweet young woman, and you're like, I was selling Cutco knives, I was DJing, like it's kind of like secret badass, like
Mhm.
Yeah, I just wanted to try out like as many new things as I could just to see what I actually want to hone in on.
yeah,
I like a lot
good
of
knife
things.
pun.
I like a lot of things media, so I feel like this job allows me to do a lot of that stuff. But
Mhm.
over this school year, I have an internship with the athletic department where I'm doing like social media and like podcasts. They have a podcast too, so I do that during the school year. So it's really nice to like hop into some similar things
Mhm.
here. But it's like I feel like I have a lot more free time. Like probably the most free time I've ever had in a summer is this summer, just sticking to one job and
Just the day job.
yeah,
and-
just the day job. And I
Yeah.
get to schedule out my time. I'm really big into time blocking and stuff.
Mm.
So then I can like plan, these are the days I'm gonna run. These are the days I'm gonna, go to adoration or go to church or whatever. These are the days I'm gonna hang out with my friends. And this summer has been super nice for just having a lot of time to do all those things. So
With the time blocking, do you have like any favorite books? Let's see. Can you grab that orange one right there? They're like all orange, but yeah, that's the one.
Done.
I mean, this is a good one. I feel like I've read half of Getting Things Done by David Allen, Deep Work with Cal Newport, and then all the traction ones. I even have multiples of this one. So I'm fascinated by productivity and those types of things. So when you say time blocking, like, is there a methodology that you've learned or used, or is it just how you have decided or kind of developed it yourself?
yeah, honestly, I probably learned it last summer with my sales job because it was a lot of making your own schedule. Like you were setting up times to like make calls, setting up different appointments with clients. So you had to be like really like organized and saying, this is when I'm free, this is when I
Right.
have time to make an appointment, and this is when I'm going to call. Otherwise, it just wasn't going to get done. So I just like started blocking off my calendar. I use just like the app on my phone, not Google Calendar, but just like the Apple one.
Mhm.
And just like, kind of setting things in my personal calendar is how I do it. I don't really have a book or anything that I went off
you're
of.
not a disciple of David
Yeah.
Allen over here.
Nerd.
Not a nerd. I mean, to be fair, I haven't read some of these books. So they're like my pending to read books, but we'll get you guys into these books. We'll get you into this.
Yeah.
What the heck is EOS
Oh.
and traction? These are fun ones. So it's kind of like goal setting and productivity, and it's stuff that I wish I would have learned when I was younger, but I did not. Like, I don't know what your guys' experience with schools are. You're obviously very intelligent and very tenacious, do great work. Creative problem solvers, like that's what we love here. That's what works well and I feel like thrives in creative industry, especially in a small company where gonna be like, hey, how do you feel about doing this thing, which is kind of in your wheelhouse and you might not have
Yeah.
thought of. So everyone has to be a little bit entrepreneurial. But for me, growing up, and I think it was similar for John, just getting by on intellect alone and studying just the night before for a test and getting straight A's and things like that.
Mhm.
Turns out it's not great for working in the real world. And so that's why I have like all these books and have tried to really develop and learn these habits. But hopefully, you know, even however long you guys are here with us at Backflip, some of these tools and tricks and methodologies can just be, I don't know, encouraged or impressed on you guys. Maybe we'll buy you some books. You can take them away when you leave.
Great.
Yeah, I'm
I'm assuming
curious.
you'll never leave, but
I'm curious what does EOS stand for?
sure. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy
Dive
to
into
go
it.
into
Because
something
last
like
week
that.
it was what is SEO, and now this week it's EOS, and they're all kind
All
of
the
the same
acronyms.
letters.
Moving the
Yeah.
words around, letters around.
So you'll find that anyone will sell you their methodology and their programming, and there's 100 different ways to skin the cat of like productivity and how to be successful and things like that. This is actually recommended traction from our friends at the Evangelical Catholic. So Jason Simon and Andrew Ochelek. Actually, I've talked several times to Andrew Ochelek about this. And he kind of pitched it in a way that made it very clear, like that our leadership team could really benefit from it, just in the way that the three of us think differently and the way that we work differently, and how to lean into those strengths. And we implemented it. We started implementing it about a month ago. And even with the meetings, we've already really gotten much more efficient, much more goal-oriented, rock-oriented, and kind of direction-full, like the opposite of directionless. But the question of what is EOS? EOS is Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's just like the framework to be entrepreneurial, to creatively problem solve, to keep your eyes on whatever your goals are, to goal set, and to operate through that. So I've got all these tabs, like here's the accountability chart, here's accountability roles, GWC, get it, want it, and have capacity. That was something that we didn't realize when asking somebody. Like sometimes people drop the ball and you're like, well, what the heck? Like this is your job. You don't drop the ball. But if somebody doesn't understand what the ask is, get it, if they don't want to do it, or if they don't have capacity, any one of those fails, then they'll likely fail at the task. So making sure that anybody who's taking anything on has those important questions. And then rocks, which is the metaphor of a glass, right? So you have a glass and that's how much capacity you have. And you have to fill that up with a bunch of stuff. If you just put water in first, like the smallest, shortest, low-hanging fruit kind of tasks, that's going to fill it up. And then if you try to put anything else in there, like pebbles or rocks, you're not going to be able to put anything more important in there, right? It's going to overflow. Yeah, it's more capacity than you can handle. If you start with the rocks, and this is a common metaphor, you start with the rocks, put the big rocks in, they fit. Great. Now what can you put in next? You can put in the pebbles, and they'll fit amongst the rocks. And then what can you do? You can do the sand, and then you can put the water in. So then all those elements fit, and it's descending level of importance in terms of the work that you're working on. So we each have certain rocks that we're working on, and we try to come back to those every day. And those are the things that can really move the company forward. And then there's other small things that maybe are those pebbles or those sand or those daily things that come up. And then you do those after you've done your rocks. So just a framework that's super cool. And I'm stoked about it, even though it is pretty nerdy. And I think it'll be fun. But
I think it rocks.
I like it. You got all the puns today. Hone in your schedule and you think it rocks.
Once you're put on social media for a certain amount of time, you just get them going.
It's all puns.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe I'll come up with some jokes and make you guys put some water in your mouth and see if I can make it.
Yeah.
Maybe not in here though. Maybe we go outside like we did for the social media. I feel like this is like kind of our dream team for kind of the social media stuff that we're working on. For those who don't know, Alexis and Maria are really helping supplement, augment, develop, create a lot of the work we do on social media. And we've kind of had different iterations on how we've done that, but getting you guys involved and your tenacity and your creative problem solving has been fantastic. So like what we joke about drinking from the water hose, because that's what a lot of it is. It's like, here's all this stuff. Okay, go, good luck. You know, like, let me know if you have questions. I'm here to help.
Yeah.
What has that been like? Because we're a month in. I think you guys are doing fantastic. But I was concerned. I was like, this is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a lot to ask of them. But they seem to be handling it. Like, what was that? What was that like?
I think
Being brutally honest.
For me, I think it was kind of unexpected because I feel like I came in being like, oh, I'll probably just do editing, because at the time when I joined a year ago, there's like a huge need for the editing.
Yeah.
So I just kind of hopped into that right away. That helped with some like producing PA stuff along the way, but I think I was like, I'll probably just keep going because it seems like we're still kind of got a lot of editing stuff going on. So I'll probably continue that. And I do really enjoy it. So I didn't have a problem with that. But then it was like, yeah, the first couple of meetings we were having, I was like, oh, I think I'm going to be doing a lot more than I thought. So it's been an adjustment, like figuring out, okay, like I'm not just like coming to the office every day and spending those 8-9 hours editing. It's like I need to chunk out the block timing, and I like block out my day of like I'm going to start with answering emails, emailing people for the podcast, things like that, and then I'll move into editing, and then whatever is priority. Sometimes social media is more of the priority in that day, so it's like, okay, what things do we need to do for this post today or coming up? That's a bigger post, just things like that. And then on the side, like still doing things to grow my skill set. So like I also have been trying to chunk in time to like do those courses and learn more about SEO and do research on like different managing systems, organization systems. The other day I was learning about using Adobe Animation or Adobe Animate to learn how to animate things for a video we're working on. It's a secret.
I'm excited. I don't know what this is.
So I'm really excited about that. It's all very fascinating. So it's like a lot of different things, but I feel like I'm kind of used to that. I feel like I'm kind of used to being like thrown into something and just like, here you go, figure it out. Like throughout college, that was pretty much like everything I did.
Right. Well, and what were you, the president or whatever of Badger Catholic? And
yeah, very spontaneously. It was just like last summer, they're like, we need a president. You're it. You're doing it. And I was like, okay.
A little voluntold.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. And I was a vice president at the time. So I kind of knew, but I was also kind of thrown in that role.
I mean, that's kind of the typical, like, okay, or in a lot of organizations, like, okay, you're going to be the treasurer. Okay. Or secretary. Now you're going to be the vice president. Now you're going to be the president. Now you're the past president.
Yeah. Yeah. I started as a speaker coordinator, which I loved because it was just like reaching out to these big speakers, doing a lot of coordinating, a lot of planning, being up there, introducing the speakers, hosting them for the day, picking them up at the airport, like all of that stuff. Super fun.
I have a great idea. Do you know who's doing that right now for St. Paul's?
I do. Yeah.
We should coordinate and be like, hey, when they come out, we get to interview them as well. We'll pay for something or something like that. Because
that'd be cool.
St. Paul's probably pays for them to come out, right?
Yeah, it's cool because a lot of the people that they're going to be reaching out to this year is people that I've been like already communicating with, because you have to like reach out to these people so far in advance if you want.
You've been developing the relationship.
Yeah, and it's cool. It's opened up a ton of opportunities for me just in like the Catholic world, and made all these really cool connections with really awesome people who now know me on like a first name basis, which is great. Like all these super big speakers who I'm such a nerd about, and they're just like,
do you have any name drops?
Yeah, I was gonna say
like Sarah Swafford, Jackie Angel, Bobby Angel, all Ascension Presents people. I met Father Mike Schmitz, which was great. And I was the speaker coordinator at the time he came to UW spontaneously. So I was like the person who
met him first and was able to talk to him a little bit about the ministry, and
That's cool.
a couple other like younger Catholic speakers that are more up and coming that I brought in, who probably don't know, but I don't know, like the Religious Hippie and Brendan McCauley and people like that. So
Yeah, that's great.
a lot of people have been like almost all of these people have been on Pints of Aquinas. So like Kim Zember, I don't know if you saw her. but
Who?
Kim Zember.
Mm-mm.
She's great.
All these names, my wife's probably like, yep.
Yeah,
yep,
I'm sure.
yep.
Like, if people are watching and they're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, yeah, all the big names, yeah. A lot of people are going to be at the Eucharistic Congress, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe we
Sister
can.
Miriam, Father John Burns.
Yeah,
They're
there's
pretty
probably an
awesome.
angle there for you to share that we're going to be out there and be like, hey, friend, I work for this company and they're out there. You should meet up with them.
Yeah, I won't be there, but
Yeah.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
I'll have to
We
think
gotta-
of a way.
We got to strong man the idea and
Mhm.
steel man the idea.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we're going out there and that'll be really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Father Mike Schmitz. Carolyn has his contact info because I think she brought him out one time.
Mhm.
And then one night we were wine night, hanging out and talking. We were all listening. This is probably a year or two ago when the Bible in a Year was super popular.
Mhm.
And for some reason, we were talking about the speed that Father Mike Schmitz
Yeah,
talks
yeah.
at.
That comes up a lot.
I
Zoom
listened
in.
to it at like 1.25 or something like that. So I listened to it even a little bit faster.
Wow.
And we texted him some joke about that, and he texted back, which is fun. I was like,
You're like, oh my gosh. we're
I'm
cool.
connected with celebrity.
We're
It's
cool.
cool. No big deal.
Yeah.
Then I think we tried to reach out for something else. It didn't work.
Mm.
It was like, connect with my publicist
Mhm.
or whatever it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get that a lot.
Mhm.
But it's cool when they don't go through like an assistant, and so they give you their number.
Yeah.
Like Emily Wilson was just like emailing back, like she didn't have an assistant, so it was
That's
just like,
crazy.
here's my number if you need anything, and we're like, whoa. Same with Sarah Swafford, and
Mhm.
people like that. When you're picking them up at the airport, they want to coordinate with you, so they're just like, here's my number if you need
Oh,
anything,
right.
and you're like, okay,
Yeah.
that later.
Yeah,
if
isn't
I
that
need it.
weird?
Yeah.
You're kind of like, well, wouldn't you be a little bit more protective of that? But
Some
you're
are
it's a
like
little more
Emily Wilson
practical.
was like, as soon as this is over, delete the number, and I was like,
Wow.
okay,
I would probably
I
just
get it
have
though.
a burner. Just
Yeah,
have like a
that would-
little
yeah.
flip phone or something.
I
you
mean,
can
she
use.
didn't say you couldn't memorize it, so
Bro.
I deleted it, but I
deleted it.
rewrote it down somewhere else.
Yeah. But it was super cool. I brought her in a year ago or whatever. And then I met her again at Seek, and she remembered my name. And I was like, this is crazy.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, she was like, I know you. And I was like, yeah, you do, but I didn't think you'd remember me. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of fun things like that.
I think he's saying, get out of my camera.
oh, sorry.
Oh,
Wait, this way?
blocking.
Don't lean in.
There.
I forgot too, this is a happy hour. There's probably not a way I can get another one of these.
What are we drinking?
Yeah, what are you guys drinking? I'm drinking Tropical Punch Energy from Zoa. Dwayne The Rock Johnson
You should get
sponsored this.
sponsored.
I know, right?
Drinking water.
Yeah.
Because I forgot to grab a drink.
Cheers.
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 Yay.
This is just like normal. I
We're
love it.
repping the trending bottles of our time period. The Stanley and the
Oh.
Owala.
Voila. And I have
Basic.
Sponsor me,
basic white
Stanley.
girl. I know.
Blender bottle. I mean, that's got some popularity.
Mhm.
This one's seen some years. I don't think you should keep these that long.
Yeah, that looks a little.
Like it starts to get discolored. And
yeah. When
I
it's
try
no
to-
longer clear, it's a little concerning.
I try to wash it like every day.
I
It's kind of gross.
couldn't really tell.
Yeah. Who's the most famous person you've met?
That's very on the spot.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. There's no right answers. Or wrong
No,
answers.
I don't know. Okay, I'm like so bad with celebrity names. That's also another fun fact about me.
You're just like, I've met so many.
yeah, there's just too
Forget
many
their
of them.
I couldn't even count.
Who's the dude who plays Jesus in The Chosen?
Jonathan Rumi.
He was at the Seek that we went
Yes.
to. I would say
Did you
that's
meet
a pretty.
him?
I didn't meet him, but I
Okay,
mean,
fun story. I was gonna share this story, but you
Yeah.
just this perfect segue.
I was gonna say probably the most famous person I've met is Jonathan Rumi but I didn't meet him, but I was like this close because we were at Seek and not together, but we both were there at the same time.
Separately,
Yeah,
but we were both there.
And he was like a surprise guest at the end.
Ah.
So Jason Everett gave a talk, and then they started like, I don't know, he was the guest on the trivia. They did this trivia thing, and they were like, we're gonna bring out a celebrity guest to do the trivia, and then they started like playing the Chosen music, and then everyone was freaking out, and then he walked out on stage, and it was great.
That was my favorite moment.
Yeah, it
of
was
the
so
Seek
good.
conference.
The Catholic
It
rock
was crazy.
star.
Everyone was
moment.
dying. Yeah, it was great. And we had gotten there super early, like the section I was with.
Uh-huh.
And so we were sitting like in the front, and there was a row in front of us that was reserved. And I was like right in the front. And I was like, this is great. So I saw him, like he was like right there on the stage. And then they spoke, promoted The Chosen, did all that, did their trivia. And then next was Jason Everett's talk, which was a great talk. You should look it up. It was great. And I was like, I wonder what this front row seats is. Like, why can't we move up? I want to be closer, you know? And about 10 minutes in to the talk, all these people started filing out to sit in the row. And who sits in front of me but Jonathan Rumi, literally right in front of me, like the spot right in front of me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And to the point where
Did
I
you
could
steal some hair?
I could smell him. This is
Look out, Patrick.
I know. No, like he smelled good. He smelled clean.
He smelled good. He smelled real good.
He had really good cologne. I was that close to him that I could smell him, and it was great. And so, so I feel
Oh
like
my
I
gosh,
met
it's
him.
like the Catholic conference.
I
like-
could have just been like, you know, but I didn't do that. But I could have, and it would have been great. I could have introduced
I'm
myself.
sure that
but-
happened several times. Or like,
I know. Yeah, it's just like what. But yeah, that was a really surreal experience.
Oh, that's fun.
I didn't meet him, but that just
You're
reminded
closer than
of
me.
that.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
I was like in the back bleachers.
Yeah.
you didn't take the moment to introduce yourself. in the
Well,
middle of
like
that
he
talk?
was surrounded by. There was like a security guy. He was with like two other women who were like his, I don't know, posse. I don't know. And it was during the talk. Like I felt like I couldn't just be like, hey, but I was definitely
You missed your
fangirling.
opportunity
I know. And then he left before the talk was over, probably because he didn't want everyone
for obvious
swarming.
reasons. Yeah,
Yeah, so I don't know. I should have. Just kidding.
I love it.
We don't like that word.
At the Seek conference, like Catholic rock star, and then potentially elsewhere in the world, just like a
Oh, yeah.
normal dude.
Listening to his interviews is super interesting. Like people coming up to him randomly,
Mm.
like confessing their souls to him.
Oof.
You know, just and he's
That
like,
would
you
be
know, I'm
awkward.
not
Yeah.
actually Jesus, but I'll pray for you. You know, so
Yeah.
that's gonna be an interesting life.
He just starts talking in that accent. You know, he does the daily reflection on the Hollow app
Yeah.
with Jeff Cavins,
Mhm.
and he will do the gospel, and anytime Jesus speaks,
He'll do
he
the
will
voice.
go into
Yeah, it's
Jesus'
so
voice.
cool.
It's
Yeah,
just so funny.
I know. I
But-
love it.
Like kind of, I guess, what is it like? Is it like kind of Arabic? I don't know.
Yeah.
They all kind of have like different accents,
Hmm.
but that's fine. It's part of the charm. Part
Yeah.
of the charm.
Yeah. It's
And
fun.
Chosen.
But he actually just made a documentary about it. So I
About
haven't
his
watched
accent?
it yet. No, yes. No, about his life.
Honest question.
About his life as Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Jonathan and Jesus or something, I think it's called. But it's just like all about how his life transformed from just being this like random American actor to now being like everyone's vision of what Jesus looks like, you know? So I haven't watched it yet, but
Mm.
I
Well,
feel like it would be really interesting.
And his story is kind of interesting. I'm going to butcher it, but I feel like there was something with him essentially praying like, hey, God, if you want me to do this, you know, give me a role or something. And I think he might've been playing Jesus in some other things. And
Yeah.
got this
Mhm.
Jesus role. And obviously he's fantastic in that.
Yeah.
So kind of an instance perhaps of a prayer being answered
Mhm.
in a very real way,
Yeah,
which is cool.
it's really cool.
That's crazy. God was just really
It's
like, my role
wanna
for
play
you
me?
is to play Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. You'd make a good me.
Yeah.
biographical.
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Let's see. So we did the movie Power in My Hands. So I did meet Jeff Cavins at the premiere. And then who else? Like Doug Barry. Who's the quarterback? Now I'm losing all the names. What's his name? Quarterback. Guy in the chair. Help me. He has like 8 kids. He's Catholic.
All I know is the kicker guy.
What? The kicker guy.
The kicker.
We're really doing sports well.
I'm
right
also not
now.
remembering his name, but the one who did the speech and everyone's going crazy about it.
I don't know what that is. We're looking at Power in My Hands over here. Is it not there?
Who are the people?
Philip Rivers. Oh my gosh.
Father Donald Calloway. He was
And
in
Father
it too.
Donald Calloway, yeah.
Wait, that's great.
The surfer priest. Dude, his story was pretty crazy. My camera died.
Ooh. Oh no.
That's all right. I'll just lean over here.
Need
This
a
is
new
awkward.
battery.
I'll just have to ask a really good question for Alexis. All right, you're in the hot seat.
Okay.
So you have a journalism and a communications degree.
Yes.
What are you gonna do with the journalism degree? Like what?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I'm just kidding.
Or like, how does it play into what you do?
Yeah.
Or want to do?
It definitely taught me a ton about communication, obviously. And within at least at Madison, the journalism program, it's a lot of writing. You're learning how to do all of the different things that you would do as a journalist, obviously. So like learning how to interview, learning how to write in the AP style, which if there's
AP?
any AP style,
Like the
if anyone is a
newspaper?
journalist out there,
Yeah,
they know what that means.
the Associated Press style.
Yes, it's like this whole book that just has all these grammar rules, and we would get tested on it, where it's like it gives you
What's an example?
just like where different abbreviations of states and cities, like those are different.
Are there
Way you do
really
things.
different
Yeah.
abbreviation of states?
It's like if it's a state, so okay, if you're referencing a place, you could reference the state. Like if it's a town, like small town Wisconsin, typically when you're writing like an article, you're not going to start out in the first like hook intro by saying exactly where that is if it's not relevant. So you're not going to be like Little Chute, Wisconsin. Usually you're just going to do like a small town in Wisconsin. Or if it's like, if you want to know proximity, you'll be like a small town in Wisconsin near Appleton, something like that. Like, but if it's a well-known city, then you'll say Madison, Wisconsin, because everyone knows what it is. Or like if it's like, there's so many, it's hard to explain. Or like if people know.
Is it super useful?
It's not even like a tool, it's just a way of doing things. Like every journalist has to write this way. It's like their way of writing.
Sure. It's probably just the standardization so it can be shared around and the framework's going to be the same.
But it's really weird if you just like grow up writing English papers and things like that. Like it's a different style of writing. Just like different abbreviations, different ways to like, I can't imagine what it's like writing for like a political newspaper or something like that, because it's like all the different abbreviations for different positions. There's like a whole list of them. Like governor obviously is like GOV, but there's just like, you have to do all the different things.
That's
and
nice,
like,
because otherwise you could make it up and no one would understand what you're talking about.
so it makes sense why there's like a formula for everything, but it's like, where do the hyphens go? When do you use a certain kind of punctuation? And when is certain things when are certain things capitalized and when are certain things not? And like different titles are capitalized, but other titles aren't. And like, like years, times, places. Like all
so
of that.
do you think you'll be reporting in that way in your
Never.
career ever?
That was like the one thing I hated. I was like, I hate these AP style quizzes. Like they're just so like everyone. There's not a lot of people who liked them in my classes, if I'm being honest.
Many people becoming reporters?
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going more into the marketing world nowadays. I don't think there's going to be a lot of like
newspaper writers. And if they are going to go into writing, it's probably going to be like blog writing,
Yeah.
or like an online.
Well, it seems
news.
like it's changed so much in the
Mhm.
last 20 years, I guess, with the internet and social
Yeah.
media.
Mhm.
So you don't just have journalists and then book writers and scientific writers.
Mhm.
It's all kind of a spectrum,
Yeah.
and a lot of the news is really opinion blogs
Mhm.
and things like that. So yeah, that very specific skill. Are there any like blog writing for marketing types of classes or anything? Maybe not at UW, because UW is more of a traditional school.
Yeah, if you go into strategic communication, so there's like the broadcast journalism
Mm.
major and then the strategic communication one, and that was more marketing business focused. I did broadcasting, so it was a lot more like learning how to write AP style, learning how to write press releases, like going out doing interviews. There's like a video journalism class where you're actually like going out with a camera,
Mm.
interviewing, getting it on film. There's like a podcasting one where you're learning how to do more like narrative form podcasts.
Oh, that's
So
fun.
kind of like NPR style,
Yeah.
getting interviews, telling a story, and like how do you structure it with like natural sound and all of that,
Mm,
plus narration. So there's like
that's
those.
fun. That's useful.
Yeah, like those ones I feel like were more useful for me because I
Yeah.
can see myself actually doing that. And like there's like a documentary class. There's like documentary style writing or something like that. That was also helpful just because that helps with my like film world.
Hmm.
But all of the other more beginner journalism classes were not, I don't know, that help. Like I don't think I'll use a ton. I
Yeah.
learned a ton about just growing in my writing skills and being like the importance of being very concise when you're writing and not just getting rid of the fluff because it's going to get edited out anyway. But I think the coolest journalism class I took was the magazine publishing one because it was like our class acted as like a publishing room for like that whole semester. So we were just like, we got our task. We just have to write, produce, do this entire magazine in one semester, which is a lot because usually people are doing like quarterly or like only, I don't know, every 6 months producing a magazine or publishing a magazine. So it's like we only had a couple months to do that. So that was a really cool experience.
I love the idea of something like that where it's more entrepreneurial, kind of creative problem solving.
Yeah.
Because I feel like marketing and production and a lot of things more and more are just apprenticeship. And when you can do that more in school, then it's much more valuable, kind of in my thought. Like I got, or in my opinion, I got a radio, film, and television degree. But I still, I kind of recommend like, hey, maybe just try working in the industry for a little bit. Some people like
You
school,
learn a
some
lot
people
more.
want school. Obviously you just graduated and you're still in the thick of it. So I want to acknowledge the value in that. But, given a choice in, another situation, it's like, would you change how you did it? No, because obviously we're here now because of the choices that we've made. So I wouldn't want to do that. However, in another universe, I might not do that. I might just go and start working and stuff and be 4 years ahead of where I could have been and a lot less in debt, and especially, if you can pay for school, I don't know if you guys are able to do that in work, like that can be really great. Like my wife more or less paid for school for her Mrs. degree.
Bam, there you go.
She has a theology degree and she was never into teaching. She was more of a researcher, in fact, and pretty great at that, but worked a couple of years and then started raising our family, right? So really great liberal arts degree and real great liberal arts experience, but not anything that she's using, so that's a consideration. So now that we're 2 years in and you're actually finishing in like a year and a half or one and a half more years,
One
right?
and a half years. Yeah, I'm finishing a semester early.
Yeah. What does all this mean to you? Like, are you getting, I'm assuming you're getting value out of school,
Yeah.
what's the value that you're getting?
I agree with you on the like hands-on experience stuff. I'm like big in just like I want to be thrown into something and that's how I want to learn it. There's a few like classes that I've taken that are like that. So for my recording art certificate, next semester I'm doing like an internship at the Pablo Center, which is like our Overture Center in Eau Claire. So it's like a little bit smaller, but still like really nice, pretty new. And it's like you get to go in and help an on-campus band create an EP, like record it, like edit it, put it together, all of that.
Dude,
so
that's
I'm
really
really
cool.
excited for that. I get to work with a partner, so it's not like just
It's
me
not all-
doing all of it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But that will be like a really good hands-on experience that I'm excited for. My internship that I'm doing with the athletic department is also like counted as a class. So it's pretty sweet. I get paid for it. I get to go to like a bunch of home games and like do social media, and it also counts as credits.
Mm.
So like that's huge for me. And I've been really enjoying that too. We started a TikTok channel, for which just like the interns run it, and it's been like super fun. Just like gaining a bunch of followers and
Mhm.
you know going to practices, doing mic'd ups, like really fun videos like that.
So then, like class wise,
Yeah.
what do you have left, and what have you experienced that was very valuable?
Probably the most valuable class that I've taken was this one called HR development. And it was
Like human
basically
resources?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, my degree is technically organizational communication. So it's like the communication that happens when like within an organization and between organizations.
Mm.
So it can go a lot of different ways. Like it can go marketing, but it can also go human resource or I don't know,
Just Any
just
type
like
of business.
agency, like
Yeah.
PR stuff.
Oh my gosh.
So it's very broad. But yeah, so I was taking a human resource class, and it was a semester-long group project where we planned a like training for a different organization. So like the one that my group chose to do was work-life balance. So we were able to like put together a training program and then train this other club on campus in how to have like a healthy work-life balance. And it was like a really good experience for just like not only like learning about work-life balance, which was helpful, but also being able to like run the event and like make people like feel like they could participate in the event and like make it a good environment for that. So it was like we were learning, but we were also teaching, which helped us learn even more.
Mhm.
So that was probably like a really helpful class.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. What do you have coming up?
Coming up, let's see, I have some capstones, and I'm studying abroad in Uruguay
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
spring
wow.
next year.
That's
So
Uruguay.
yeah, so I have to learn Spanish. I'm planning on just kind of picking it up while I'm there and like learning it
Did
there.
you take any Spanish like in high school? Or
I
middle
took
school?
it for like 2 years in middle school, but just like very, very
Okay.
brief.
Yeah.
I went to Peru last winter,
Mm.
and that kind of made me want to learn it even more because I
Nice.
was like in a place where I was just using Google Translate and my phone so much.
You should look into Duolingo. I've been rocking Duolingo
That
again
one's
for
great.
like
Yeah.
I don't know 2 months or 3 months now. And again, like I feel like I'm getting to a really good place.
German?
Actually, Japanese.
Oh.
Getting into a really good place where I can like listen to it and I don't have to process it that much. Like it's just kind of like quick understanding. But largely through that app, and you can do it for free too. So
Plug.
look it,
Duolingo.
yeah. Hashtag sponsored.
So
hashtag
good.
not sponsored.
I've done a little Duolingo,
Sponsor.
but I just feel like the best way, like for me to like learn something is just to be thrown into it. So I'm just gonna
absolutely, yeah.
like,
I mean,
after
you should probably prep a little before you.
I know.
know.
I know. Yeah. There's this app, it's called Say Hi that I use a little bit.
Okay.
And it's like you talk into it and then it just automatically translate whatever you say
Oh, sure.
into Spanish and you just like show it to them or
Yeah.
like make your
Oh, that's
phone
nice.
just
Wow.
say it.
Yeah.
So like that's super nice.
The Apple Translate has that too, and I use that when I was in Germany.
Yeah.
The funny thing too, like I took 4 years of Spanish, and when I was in Germany and I couldn't communicate with somebody, my brain would go to Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, English won't work, and then I'd be like, hola, ¿cómo está? Like, ¿Dónde el baño? Like,
Classic.
No,
Yeah.
that's me, but unfortunately or fortunately, it's Latin because that's what we learned at St. Ambrose.
Oh yeah, your brain
It's
goes
like
right to
no
Latin.
one no one speaks that. So
There's,
it's
I mean, I feel like
uh,
you might have a chance with some Spanish people with Latin since it's the root of those Romance languages,
right.
Yep.
right?
It's similar, but it's definitely not
Yeah.
gonna get me.
We had
there.
friends in college. One was from Puerto Rico, and one was Italian, and they both didn't have the best English. They were pretty good at English, but as their second or third language. And then when they couldn't communicate with people, they would go into their native languages, so Spanish and then Italian, and somehow they would communicate
No, that makes
across
sense.
Spanish
yeah.
and Italian.
Because I took 3 semesters of French, and that is very similar to Spanish because I took Spanish in high school. So it's like when I could, like you were saying, like when I couldn't communicate in French, my Spanish would come out.
Oh,
And then
really?
they would just like get all mingled because my brain was like, can't compute. But they're more similar than English.
Right.
So,
Than a
yeah.
Germanic language, right?
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
So the form would be the same since they're Romance languages, and then the French is just more douchey, I guess.
lots of extra unneeded letters.
Easel.
Yeah. It's like you could
That's my
have an
interpretation.
8-letter word and it would be like, duh, or like something
Yes.
like really, you're like, what?
Yes. Yeah. One of my kids is like, Dad, do you know what was it? Tsunami? Dad, do you know what tsunami is in French? Tsunami. Like, well, yeah, that's not the French, like, it's not a French word. It's a Japanese word. And like, no, but that's the French version. Like, no, it's just a Japanese word that the
Yeah,
French
yeah.
use. And so you use it in the original language. It's like, I don't think you, and he's 8. I was like, I don't think you understand how languages
So
work.
cool.
Yeah, he got mad. I was like, all right, fine. It's the French version.
You're right.
Or whatever it is. Yeah, yeah, it's those fun things with language that I really appreciate. And I feel like learning languages helps me think in a different way. Like when you're structuring things differently, and then you kind of have a sense of, why do we say this colloquial thing in the way that we do? And what does that mean? And then you start to think a little bit more about that. Like, I can't think of a, for instance, with Japanese, playing footsie under the table. Over there.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She's like, Jonathan Rumi, under the table.
Going
Like, watch out,
crazy.
Patrick.
No.
Yeah, I can't think of an item there. So we usually wrap up by about 4:30. There's a game we play. I still kind of want to go through a couple more questions because we've only been live for maybe like 40 minutes or something like that. What are you guys like most excited for kind of in this field, in whatever that means, whether it's marketing or communications or production or anything? What kind of excites you right now? I'm like getting a pulse. Like, what are people excited about? I mean, and you guys can think, for instance, AI is really interesting. It's burgeoning, and it's
That's
burgeoning
scary.
as your careers are starting. Yeah. I went to an AI thing yesterday, and there was 2 things that were kind of the big takeaways. One was the idea that AI, another acronym for it, or another explanation of the acronym could be Army of Interns. So the idea that AI can take away like just a massive amount of work on a project at a certain level. And some of the examples were like data processing or just understanding data is kind of what it was, processing data. The other thing was, let's see, Army of Interns. Oh, human in the loop. So with any type of automation, because I asked the question, like, what are people doing with automation and what are their concerns? So you have a car that drives for you or whatever, or something that controls the temperature and it's automated by AI. Well, we know AI hallucinates sometimes and has issue and does crazy stuff. Or it's Gemini from Google and they make it uber woke, and the founding fathers are all, different ethnicities when you try to get an image or whatever. But they have this idea of human in the loop where you have this automation. And so the robots do their work and then present some choice, and then a human makes the choice or confirms their assertion or whatever. So the instance was Google data centers. They have AI figuring out power draw, heat, and all that stuff, and managing that, and changing temperature for cooling. But it only recommends it to a human, and then a human approves it and makes the change to the system.
Wow.
So robots don't ruin a multi-billion, I guess trillion-dollar industry with some kind of, AI
Mhm.
glitch. So
Mhm.
excited about AI. Those are two things that I've heard about recently.
Mm.
Did you have time to think about things you're excited about?
Yeah. I think, well, this is getting more and more popular. I would just say podcasting in
Mm.
general. I'm obsessed with podcasts. I feel like I'm always listening to podcasts. So,
Favorite podcasts?
well, they're all like Catholic.
that's fine.
But I love Pints of Aquinas. Ask Christopher West is great. What else do I listen to? Oh, Abiding Together with Sister Miriam and Heather Kim and them. They are
Not familiar
lovely.
with that one.
Daily Nothings. Like they're all just like such I love just getting people together and chatting and telling stories and going deep. So I feel like no one goes deep anymore. Like all these conversations are just like so surface level, like when you're just out talking to people. And so I feel like this just invites deeper conversations. People get more used to like learning how to talk longer than just a couple minutes,
Or then a tweet.
Yeah, or
Right,
like more than
yeah.
just a Snapchat, like actually have a deep conversation. And I feel like I've been talking to so many people lately who are like just struggling with friendships and things like that. And like, yeah, I'm just realizing like these aren't that deep of friendships that I thought, especially as we graduate and like people are going everywhere, you start realizing like, oh, I guess I'm not as close to you as I thought I was, because proximity and just you're doing the same things together. So you're friends, but then you go out, are we still friends? So just like,
Well, and when you're around each other, you probably have a lot more practical community and interaction versus in your way. And then these broken forms of social communication that suck, like that does not suffice.
Yeah. But if you have that deep rooted friendship and you're having those deep conversations, like those friendships last. And I have friends who are in totally different states and we still talk all the time and it's great, like.
Yeah. So, how do you do that? Are you chatting on the phone?
Marco Polo is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I love Marco Polo.
So you're sending somebody like a half an hour message. Just listen to this half an hour message.
I send so many long ones that they started calling them like my Alexis podcast. They're like, so love the Alexis podcast today.
Explain it to me, because I know John and I are like old fogies and we don't get it. His wife does it with a lot of people. My wife does not do it because she does not have patience for that. But like, I will leave a message on somebody's phone like, hey, I was just wondering if you had this thing and I can have it. Give me a call back. Let me know. I'll probably also text that message. That's like the extent of my phone messages. Marco Polo is like a monologue, right? And like, how does that work? Like monologuing at a friend or like talk me through this.
Well, okay. I attribute my relationship to Marco Polo. I'm just kidding. But like Patrick and I we had a lot of periods that were distant. And we were doing like long distance dating, like a lot of summers, a lot of long breaks, all of that. So we had to figure out a way to communicate, but our schedules were so busy, or like our work schedules. I was working at camp one summer, so I had like zero free time. So all I could do was like the time I had was like midnight every night as I was editing camp photos, and he was in bed because he had his job was like 6 a.m. So we just couldn't call. We kept missing each other, and like texting, it works, but it's not the same. So, like ideally, I would say if you're like long distance with someone, FaceTime is the way to go because it's like that live communication. But second best would be Marco Polo because you're still seeing their face and their expressions and hearing their voice and all of that. And even though it's not live, like you can still watch them talk and process emotions and whatever. So and then you can respond to it. So it's kind of fun.
Like long is a typical Marco Polo?
It depends on the person. Like some of my friends don't like the long ones, so they just are like, hey, how was your day? I did this today, bye. So I kind of match the speed, but I
I have friends who sent me like 30-minute long ones, and I listen to them like in the car, like a podcast, and I'm just like driving home from work, and then usually I feel like on average they're like 5-10 minutes, just
Sure.
like update. Here's what's going on in my life. Here's how my day was. How was yours? And then you're also like, I think the tricky thing is not live responding.
Right.
Because there's like, oh, wait, that's good. And then it's like, okay, table
Right,
that. Remember
right.
what they said
Yeah.
about that. And then they keep going and talk about something else. And you're like, oh, okay, I need to respond to that. But I feel like it's helped me, like, just conversationally in general. Just to, like, because some people can talk and go all over the place.
Mhm.
And then I feel like I've gotten better at backtracking and be like, oh, let's go back to this point that
Sure.
you said. Or, like,
Yeah,
let's-
kind of holding that all
yeah,
in your
yeah.
mind. Yeah.
So it's interesting responding to friends who
Mm.
send like a 30-minute long one, because then you're like, okay, let's talk about this thing and then this thing. And, like, so you're just going through and responding to all the things. And then it's kind of fun because you're able to sort out, like, you can still get their personality and the fun little things, like
Mhm.
little distractions, but you don't need to respond to those.
Yeah.
So you just like,
And
you can choose
obviously-
what you respond to, I guess.
Obviously, it's effective somehow because I know a lot of people who use it and,
Yeah.
and use it to length. So it's probably one of those things where, like, I'm interested in trying it, but like, yeah. But since it's not ingrained, like, I mean, a lot of the moms in the community,
Mhm,
I think do some of that too.
mhm.
What about you? Do you do Marco
How do
Polo?
you feel
No,
about that?
my
Yeah.
mom does a little,
Does she?
but no, I don't like FaceTime or phone calls.
Mm.
I'm just a texter. I just like texting. That's my thing.
Are you? And I'll come back to you and ask you in a second. Would you consider yourself an extrovert or an introvert?
I'm an introvert. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's pretty obvious
Yeah.
if you've met me.
How do you like to recharge?
It depends on, like, I guess what season. Like in the summer, now I've been reading a lot of books, running. I definitely love sports is a huge thing for me. So just like being active, hanging out with friends, the normal things.
Yeah, because the question, it's kind of a leading question because there's
Yeah.
this idea with extroverts and introverts. With the extroverts, they want to be out with people
Hmm
to recharge. Like that's how they recharge. Like my wife, like when I come home, she's like, I've been with crazy people all day. I need to talk to you as a
Yeah.
human, as a human person, or as a cognizant adult. Whereas I'm done. I'm done with interactions with people. I need to go read or go do something physical. Or,
Yeah.
just be by myself.
Yeah, I agree with the being by myself to recharge, but also I feel like there's select people where it's like if I'm like one-on-one with someone that I'm like really close to, then that's like recharging. Like probably even more than being alone.
I feel like as an introvert too, I can respond to that, or I can that resonates with me. Playing footsie over here again. It's not a very deep desk. I just keep my foot out for these awkward moments. That resonates with me, and like my best friendships are like those where like we don't have to talk.
Yeah.
You just sit there. It's like anti Marco Polo.
It's so
Like my
funny.
best friends. Maybe I'll do that. I'll do Marco Polo where I just don't talk.
Just like
turn it on.
put it in the
And then
cup
do
holder as you
something
drive.
Yeah, no pressure friendship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That's
think that's
funny.
what I would do. So then text primarily.
Yeah. Just a text.
Yeah, like your
that's
friends in
perfect.
college, you're just texting with them.
Yeah. Just
Mhm.
checking in.
I don't think I even do that. Okay.
Just don't communicate.
I just don't communicate. Yeah, like I do enjoy talking on the phone sometimes. The problem I have is like just blocking time. And then when somebody calls, I'm like, okay, do I have 5 to 30 minutes to talk to this person?
Mhm.
There's very few people that I will always answer the phone for. Like
Yeah.
I'll answer the phone for any of you guys, because I know you're not going to talk my ear off for like half an hour, but like John or Scott, just because we've had this relationship for forever,
Mhm.
and like, it might be a long conversation, but it'll be good. Or my wife, or like Carolyn, or a buddy Paul, or maybe some siblings or something like that.
Mhm.
Like very select people where it's not work to communicate.
Mhm.
Like I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel like sometimes some relationships seem performative, like especially if they know you from something. Like I feel like people know me from galas or videos or things like that, and then they, I don't know, come into it with a perception, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of a lot more lame than those other things. So I feel, you know, it's like the imposter thing. Like I feel like I have to be more exciting than I actually am.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's socially draining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I need to like not be around people
Mhm.
or whatnot. So the anti Marco Polo is what I need to do.
That's so funny. Yeah, I love it. I thrive on it.
I feel like maybe I'll do like a long Marco Polo and like send my wife like in 1 hour. You know, the funny thing is though, I am doing like a series on TikTok. It's kind of like connected to the fitness stuff that I do, but it's just like a daily update when I'm driving, and it's just like 5 to 10 minutes. Like, hey, here's what's going on, which is kind of like the Marco Polo thing, but it's not directed at any one person,
Mhm.
which is weird or interesting. So I guess I can kind of understand that, because I'm like, wait, you're just like talking at somebody and they're not interacting. Like, obviously it works,
Mhm.
and there's something interesting to it.
Mhm.
So maybe I'll like watch some videos about how people do it. Like
Yeah.
that's how old I am.
Yeah.
I'll check out the
How-
YouTubes.
How do I use this?
Can you hit? You know what time it is, Luke? Can you hit that? Hit the special.
You know what time it is.
There it is. Is it happening? You guys have seen this, I'm sure.
I gotta
right?
think of new ones.
It's
from
time for
last
two
year.
truths and a lie. That's a cool one from my
I
kids.
should have prepped.
I
knew it
feel
was
like I always
coming.
use the same ones.
The lack of prepping is great. All right. So you guys have maybe 30 seconds to come up with your answers
Oh gosh.
while I vamp real quick. We're going to play Two Truths and a Lie. This is the game where Alexis and Maria will tell us 3 things about themselves, and we have to guess what the lie is. And, you know, you can play, you can give one small detail that makes it a lie, or the whole thing could be a lie. If it's somebody else's story that you've heard and you can tell it really well, that's a great way to do it too. Those are some tips to trick us, to trick the audience, whoever's out there. I don't know if we have any chat. Can you flip over to the chat? I'm just vamping while they're. John was?
Yeah, that's it.
Any
Yeah.
questions, John?
Yeah, questions?
No.
Philip Rivers. Oh, he's like, you idiot.
Philip Rivers. And it's like,
He's like, why don't you remember anything?
no.
He's not built that way. You guys ready?
No.
Okay, you're not.
It's
I-
always
I could
easy to
keep
think
vamping.
of lies, in my opinion. But then
Yeah.
thinking of the truths is what's
Would you
interesting.
like to write? just
Yeah, that'd
write
be
some things
helpful.
down?
That'd be great.
There goes my mic.
Oh. Oh no. Okay.
There you go. Oh, you can have this pen.
Yeah. Thanks.
Two truths and a lie.
Am I still good?
Yes.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, here's some more of that EOS stuff. So good. I love this.
EOS is like a chapstick. EOS.
Is
Have you
it?
heard of that?
No. I feel like I should get some now. Get some
pretty
for
good.
everybody. Yeah.
It used to be popular.
If my friend Tabs is watching, this is Traction, one of the books I was talking about. This is Deep Work, the other book. I like to recommend these. Oh, and this is Getting Things Done. The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. I'm not sponsored by any of these things, but
Have you read any of these yet?
I have read, let's see, at least half of this one. I had a problem where I would buy books and then after I get bored, you know, halfway through I'd stop. But now I'm just trying to go back through all the books and make sure that I can get through them. Be a better person.
I'm trying to think.
You're like, this is a lie.
I just can't think when people are talking. This is difficult.
That's great. That's great. They appreciate the ad hoc nature of this. Just this is real. This is live TV, guys. This is like journalism. Let's see. I really want to get a drink.
I can progress.
I was like, I don't want to be awkward and ask you to do it. But that would be great if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Can you give me the green apple one?
Zoa.
Brought to you by Zoa. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Is
Tastes like
that
a Jolly Rancher.
caffeinated? What is?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, okay. So you're just like
Yeah.
jazzed all the time drinking those.
Well, I told Scott, so Scott loves the purple ones,
Mm-hmm.
and he was getting a little swifty with them, and I was like, hey, I just want to warn you, that's like 180 milligrams of caffeine, which is like 2 cups of coffee. And he's like, oh, that
No
makes
wonder.
sense. Yeah, he's like, that makes
I
sense.
feel
why
like
I'm
I'm
a little
running a
keyed up.
marathon.
Yeah. Why I feel my heart. I love the Zoa though. I only got like 5 hours of sleep last night because
Did you hear that storm last night? Was that?
I don't know if I
5
heard it
a.m.?
last night. No,
Kind of
this
crazy.
morning.
Yeah, this morning.
I was awake. But last night we were working on Monica's brand for her cookie company. So I was taking
Ooh,
her through,
cookie company. Sorry, I just registered that.
taking her through like a
That's
brand
so
exercise with
exciting.
our friend Carolyn and Molly. Oh yeah. I feel like very pasty on this camera, but it's apparently just my winter body, I guess. And I'm wearing blue. I'm very matchy today. I'm going to an event later for a new home birth collective
Oh, where's that?
at Mercy Coffee,
Oh, really?
which is in the old.
That's cool.
What was that? No, not Collectivo. The place right over here. But anyway,
Mercy Coffee
yeah.
or Grace's Coffee.
The person who used to be Grace's Coffee.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. That's all I can say. So it's a home birth thing. So I wore my Yo Mama shirt, which is pretty awesome. How we doing? Is that an AP? Are you reporting AP style over here?
Yeah.
How are those places
No, it's so
looking?
bad.
Oh, yeah. So we were branding last night, and we were up until like 11:30, and then I get up about 5
Why am I blanking?
to train.
Oh, no.
No pressure. What's the worst that could happen?
Well, I don't want to.
We'll take questions
It
from the
has
audience.
to be. Has to be true. I don't want to say the wrong thing, because then it's 2 lies. So I want to,
Who was it? I think Brent of Paradigm. What the heck's his last name? Man, I'm losing all the things because I didn't get sleep last night. You got to get your sleep. That's what you young folk need to realize. You got to get your sleep.
What do you
otherwise your brain
what do you
stops
aim for?
working.
8 hours or?
7.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the sweet spot?
7.5 is pretty good. Yeah, 8 or 9 is great, but like after 8, I just wake up and I just lay there. So yeah, your brain needs it, your body needs it. That's the thing with like fitness and health. People like to get into like, broccoli has this in it and it's breaking down your DNA, and like, okay, maybe in this like petri dish test or whatever,
Okay.
but not in your body. Like, you know what you need to do? You probably just need to sleep. Like sleep, eat well, and exercise. It's not hard. All right.
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Who wants to go first? Eeny, meeny, miny, go.
Okay. Do I just
Yep.
say all 3? Like, do you
So
want
you'll say all 3
pause
and I'm
or-
going to write them down so I know what's going on.
Oh.
Am I guessing too? Or?
Yep.
All right. Number 1.
Number 1.
I've gotten kicked out of Costco 3 times in my life.
Whoa.
I'll wait for it.
Yep.
Wait for it.
Got it.
All right. Number 2. I had a 50% chance of being disabled.
Whoa.
Mm.
And number 3. I'm going on a pilgrimage to Medjugorje at the beginning of August.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I wasn't
I
looking
know
at you
it.
during any of these. Okay. So let me process this, and then anyone at home can also guess. So number 1, you kicked out of Costco 3 times in your life. I mean, so far.
So far.
Yeah.
You're
It
going
could be
again.
more
You're going
tomorrow.
again tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Make it a 4th.
50% chance of being disabled. I'm guessing when you were, your mom was pregnant with you or something like that, or what's the feedback?
The feedback.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Very little feedback. And then a pilgrimage to Medjugorje in Medjugorje. Was it Medjugorje or Medjugorje?
Both.
I've heard both,
Okay.
but we'll find out when I'm there.
Lean into it. I like it. In August.
Yep.
So first blush, it feels like that's the lie because you're going to Uruguay. But maybe you're doing a pilgrimage. And then they kicked out of Costco 3 times. Maybe it's 2 times. That could be the lie. It'd be weird for you to lie about potentially being disabled. So I'm going to say
It could have
that's,
been a different chance.
I'm going to
Percent
say
chance.
that's true.
You never know.
There's a 100% chance I'm disabled right
You would never know.
now. And we're canceled. So let's see. Pilgrimage. I haven't heard anything about the pilgrimage. Or did you tell us about it? Did I not pay attention?
See, this is a test of your
Mhm.
listening abilities.
Yeah, because let's see. Did you
After you see your answer, I'm going to
send
say
us
mine.
something? Okay, I'll go first.
I think she's got it.
Luke, do you have a guess?
I think it's the 50% chance of disabled at birth.
That's bold.
I'd put it
Bold.
higher. Yeah.
You lied. It was actually 75%.
Yeah. I want to say the pilgrimage, but I'm gonna say kicked out of Costco 3 times. Because I think it was 4.
Okay. It is pilgrimage because she's going in July for 2 weeks.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
She's locked in. She's a good
I
listener.
listen in.
No, that makes more sense because I was
I
like,
check out
I
the
think
calendar.
you told us about when you were not going to be around. I was like, I don't
Yep.
remember when that was. Could be August. That was a good lie.
That was a good lie because
All
it's
right.
like partly true. you
So
know?
how did you get kicked out of
Close.
Costco 3 times?
Yeah.
So if you're under the age of 18 and going to Costco by yourself, that's a problem.
What?
Oh.
Really?
That's how I get kicked out one time. Another time it was because I was using my dad's or my mom's Costco card and they don't like that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's so dumb.
so I think, yeah, the combination of those 2 things has gotten me kicked out a few times.
Mm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Luke's gotten kicked out before with my card or something.
It's so interesting. I didn't know they were so strict.
Sometimes they are, but sometimes you can get through.
Oh.
Like, just depends.
I feel
Kinda
like that's a
wanna
lesson
see
in
it
life.
without
Yeah.
card.
I mean, you have to have
See.
one to check out,
Hmm.
and the annoying checkers will like look at the photo.
Yeah.
The non-annoying checkers will just scan it.
Mm.
50% chance of being disabled. Is there like some genetic thing your parents have? And,
No, I had a stroke at birth.
oh,
so-
at birth.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was like there was a chance that I would just like wouldn't be able to develop normally.
Whoa.
Well, it's probably the best time to have one though,
Yep.
for your brain plasticity, like
Yeah.
to just basically heal and not be majorly affected.
Yeah. So like part of my brain doesn't work, but it's okay because we
Mm.
just found new passages. Is basically
Yeah.
what happened.
What?
So,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
That's also probably why you don't turn left ever, right?
Yeah, it's the left side. It was the left
Oh, is it?
side. Yeah.
I was just joking.
That's funny.
Actually, the other day I was like, "Am I having a stroke?" It was not a stroke. I did not go to the doctor, but I was working out and doing some moves, and I think what happened is I was holding my neck in a certain way, and I was doing a
Mm.
move, and I just got lightheaded, and occasionally I'll see stars depending on how I do it. And I got up and I was like, oh, my head feels weird, and I was like, I'm seeing stars, and I was like, I can't see on the right side of my right eye, like right here, and there's a lot of things going on. But then afterwards, I showed Monica a clip of it, and then did some research, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I just like didn't have enough oxygen. Like I wasn't breathing,
Yeah.
and the way that I was doing the move and holding my neck and pushing like
Yeah.
was really stupid. So I was like, this is probably not a stroke. She's like, you were talking fine, you were moving fine, you know, just the stars. So
Mhm.
you and me both.
Mm.
All right, Alexis.
All right. Hopefully this is more convincing than the last time that I
Yeah.
did this. Okay. So number one, when I was a child, around the age of 6,
Lie. Sorry.
I was a cute child.
That's
My
not-
no, I had to think about it. This is what okay. Anyway, When I was 6, my family had me featured in a magazine ad for a local car dealership commercial.
Ah.
Well, magazine ad, not commercial. Car dealership. Magazine.
It's so awkward. It's probably true.
And then I've had glasses since I was in 1st grade.
Mhm.
Very long time. And then, so I got engaged a year ago, as people know. And Patrick proposed at Devil's Lake. And the whole time I the whole time I was anticipating it. So like going into it, I was like, this is happening. But then he wasn't doing it for a very long time. And we went paddleboarding, and I was like, is he bringing it out on the paddleboard? And he didn't do that. And I was like, starting to get annoyed. Sorry, this is a long story, but eventually we were
Also,
hiking.
bring it on the paddleboard. Be like,
It was so bad. But he didn't have a bag with him. Like we packed a picnic. But I was like, is it with the food? Like, if he's proposing today, like, where is the ring? You know? So, and he was obviously in swim trunks, so it wasn't in his pocket. So I was like trying to figure this out. And then he kept asking me, like, where do you want to go? Like, you know, all of that.
Mhm.
And I was like, this bro doesn't have a plan. Like, what's going on? So I was getting really mad.
oh my gosh, I love it.
If he's
I love that
listening,
so
he's like,
much.
she's sharing this story.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're hiking, we get up here, we do a picnic. And he's still not doing it. And I was just like, come on, man. Like, it's not happening today. So then I started getting really mad because he like totally psyched me out, you know? But the crazy thing is, this is the kicker of the story, is when he asked me, well, okay, this is how it goes.
Sounds like a lie.
We were having our picnic. We were like on this random rock sitting there, and I was getting chilly. So I was like, do you have a sweatshirt? And he was like, yes, it's in the bag. You can grab it. And I was like, okay. So then I grabbed the sweatshirt, and the sweatshirt was at the bottom of the backpack, and I pulled it out, and the ring was in the pocket of the sweatshirt, and I felt it, and it was like, but I didn't know if that's what it was. And so
Was it like in a case, or was it just sitting in the
it was
pocket?
in a box. Like, I felt a
yeah.
box.
Okay.
And I was like, is this it? I don't know. But then he like, so then I like took the sweatshirt out. And yeah, and I had it on my lap because my legs are cold. But then I got really scared because I was like, I don't want to ruin the surprise for him. So anyway, the story, eventually he did propose and all of that, and it was in the sweatshirt. And yeah, but that was after we packed up, and then he got over there. But I just like can't imagine his fear. Anyway, so
Patrick, this is a good like lesson in expectation and uncommunicated expectation, and how frustrating it can be
The point of the story
when you
is
get married.
I felt the box before he proposed.
Mm.
So that's like the actual
Mhm.
The tagline.
number 3 or
Mhm.
whatever. Yeah.
I feel like I've heard that, and I feel like that. I mean, there could be a lie in there. I was not writing anything down.
There was
but
a
I
lot
feel
of
like that-
potential for lies.
I feel like I
in that
recall
long
that story, so that sounds legit. Like, it was like in the bag or on top of it or underneath it or something. Maybe I don't remember it in the pocket.
Mhm.
Maybe that's the lie.
Maybe.
All right, I'm gonna say number 3. It was in the pocket. That's
Okay.
what I think the lie is. What do
I
you got?
think that the lie is the glasses since first grade, because that's just like a detail that could easily have been second grade
Yeah,
or
Mhm.
kindergarten.
Mhm.
Like,
that's true. She doesn't have glasses.
no.
Right now. It
What?
could just be a whole lie.
Yeah, true. That would be
The
crazy.
whole
I
thing.
don't.
I just feel like you're wearing contacts.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you got a guess, Luke?
You're a recap.
Mm. Number 1, when she was 6, her family featured her in a car magazine commercial.
Car dealership magazine ad.
A little different.
Little
You're
different.
not like laying on a Mustang.
No.
2, glasses since first grade. And number 3, such a long story.
I remember that one.
but then she felt the ring in the pocket.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the ring wasn't in the pocket.
I feel like that's. I mean, I don't know Patrick that well, but I feel like that's a detail that would be hard to overlook. So I'm gonna go with that. You did not feel the box.
Yeah.
In the pocket.
Hey, so is it time?
Yeah.
The lie is the ad.
Oh,
Wow.
I was in a tractor ad, not a car dealership.
oh yeah, there you
I
go.
actually don't know if I was 6. I might have been younger, but
The whole thing is a lie.
yeah, the whole thing.
That was a good lie.
I have contacts right now, but I've had glasses since 1st grade.
And you did feel it in
I
the
did feel it in the pocket.
Because I remember
Yeah.
I remember hearing the story of you pulling it out, and I couldn't remember wait, was it underneath? Was it on top? Like there was some awkwardness that I could remember.
Yeah, I just didn't touch it. I was like,
Yeah.
it might be the box, and then I put it on my lap, and then I was scared, so I quickly put it back. I don't know if I actually talked to him about this.
About the uncommunicated expectations.
Yeah,
or the,
I don't know if I think he knew that I felt it maybe,
Oh,
or
okay.
he knew that it was in
Did
the
he
pocket.
know how mad you were for
Yeah.
the most of the
Yeah,
day?
he knows I was, because even after I put the sweatshirt back, he still was not
Yeah.
doing anything. And I was like, oh my gosh. And he was like, just talking. And I was really prodding, asking about the future. And I was like, so what are you thinking? About where
Oh my
we're
gosh,
going?
it's like trying to push a camel.
He was giving me nothing. And
Yeah.
I was like, and then I was like, okay, Jesus, I'm fine. I'll be patient. If it doesn't happen today, it's fine. And then it happened 5 minutes later. So
You're like, if it doesn't happen today, I'll be fine.
yeah, wink. But if you want it to happen,
It's okay, Jesus.
yeah, for real. So anyway, that's just a funny little story.
Yeah, the frustrating nature of uncommunicated expectations. Just something to think about in your marriage.
Yeah, it's real.
There's a book too that I never read, but John's mentioned it before. Whose quirk is it anyway? I have all these little things like putting the toilet paper roll so that it comes down off the top instead of the bottom.
Yeah.
You converted me to that.
Yeah.
Now I too have that same
Really?
problem.
I feel like I created an argument in your house with
Yeah,
your
you
parents
did.
too.
I am the same way. I don't understand why anyone would do it under.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
normal.
because
Like
then
what?
you're like a freaking explorer. Where is it? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And on the microwave, hitting cancel, instead of people just leaving 3
Leaving
seconds.
the number. Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't do it.
for one, it kills me that you're putting something into the microwave consistently for the wrong amount of time. And you can't wait 3 seconds. And you're like, nope, done. Take it out. Someone else can deal with this number.
No, I think I might be worse than you.
Oh my gosh.
Because I set the time, but then I open it a few seconds before so that it doesn't make the annoying beeping sound, but then I also clear it.
Okay, I'm
the
okay. I'm
same way.
100% okay
Yeah,
with that.
I do that. I do that too.
I'm okay with, as long as you clear it, you can
Yeah.
take it out, but it's the expectation of someone else can deal with this.
Yeah. No.
So there's a book. It's whose quirk is it anyway? Is it everybody else's problem that does that? Probably not. It's probably my problem that I get annoyed by that, right?
Mhm.
So uncommunicated expectations. Whose problem is it anyway? Something to think about. That's the wisdom of the day. Maybe I'll figure that out sometime too. All right, we're gonna wrap up here. Is there anything else you want to leave us with, or that we didn't talk about, or just something exciting you want to share? Often we have people plug things. I don't know if you guys have anything to plug.
Check out my YouTube channel. Just kidding, I don't have
Hit the
one.
bell.
I'll subscribe.
Yeah.
Check me on my Instagram. Lex Marine.
But seriously,
220.
you have
Yeah,
anything?
I have nothing.
No plugs.
No plugs.
I feel like we covered everything that there is to cover ever.
Ever. Don't worry, we got a lot more. to cover. Thanks for coming on, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Just having the most random of conversations. This is enjoyable. It's not Marco Polo, but I hope it was enjoyable
No, it's
for
good.
you as well.
No. Real
Um,
conversations is ideal.
Yeah.
That Marco Polo is just third best.
What's second best?
FaceTime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. What's fourth best?
Okay. Phone call.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. What else? I don't know. Do we have any? We don't have anybody scheduled soon.
If you want to be
We're
on the
working on
podcast,
stuff.
let us know.
Yeah. You want to pitch?
Yeah. send me an email. Reach out. If
Interesting
you want to
people.
be here in this chair.
Interesting topics.
Yeah,
Or that chair.
for that one.
Yeah.
For that one.
Well, thanks for joining us. We'll be back soon. Alexis is working hard, getting connected to, we kind of have a big list of people. Like, these would be really interesting people to talk about, whether they are in production or marketing or scientists or just doing interesting things in interesting industries. We want to learn more. We want to do better while drinking some favorite libations, in this case, from Dwayne The Rock Johnson. So, thanks for hanging. That's what we got. We'll see you next time. Bye.